flowchart notes. Madam, would you like to
this
point
is
out?
again something where you want to make a sequential reference, a logical patterning evolution of the ideas. And as you see, what we have done in this example is we have talked about how you make notes and what is the end product of how it helps you in your future reference. So you start with making notes either by listening to lectures or by reading something like reference books or your textbooks. And once you have made your notes, there are two choices for you. Either you understand your notes depending on how you have made it, or you don't understand. If you are in a position to understand your notes, it helps you in preparing your assignments, preparing for your examinations, preparing your fair notes. And if you don't understand your own notes, it is an indication that you need to improve on your note making skills, which I'm sure that by the end of this lecture you would be in a position to do so.
Flowcharts also help our students to identify certain chain systems. For example, if we are talking about the process of communication, so the students can definitely make a flowchart regarding the process, how the idea generates from the sender, and how the idea gets converted into a message, and message is transmitted through a proper channel, and the message through that channel and medium reaches the receiver, and then there is a proper feedback. This entire process of communication can be easily understood, represented visually through a flow chart.
Yeah.
Another example that we can give is when the students classify the types of communication. So again, when they are typifying those types of communication, they can make flow charts like communication is divided into verbal and non-verbal, and again how verbal is divided into oral and written. So the same flow chart helps them remember the points very easily. And they with the help of flow charts, they avoid cramming of the material. So the making of flow charts helps them understand the concepts, the fundamentals and the basics of the ideas, and remember so that they can reproduce it whenever required. So flow charts are of great advantage to all our students, and they are of great utility in note making. Now we move on to the
next one.
That is table notes.
Table notes. Usually table notes are taken in a situation where you have a passage wherein the author is making some kind of compare and contrast between various ideas or things. Like for example, if we talk about pollution, and if the author wants to give examples of want to differentiate between air pollution and water pollution, he can give details in the form of a table. You can take down the pointers or the examples and compare and contrast between both of them. Or similarly, like madam was mentioning this, if we are talking about the types of communication, again if you want to compare and contrast between verbal and non-verbal communication, again if you have a passage which discusses verbal and non-verbal communication, you can have a table like that where you are talking about verbal communication, its advantages, you are talking about non-verbal communication and its advantages, and you can jot down the points referring to the advantages of both and compare and contrast between both of them.
Both the notes. So table notes are important for comparative analysis, and it also helps improve your analytical skills and helps you arriving at a conclusion.
Yes.
So this can the students can further their note making skills into analytical skills and arrive at proper conclusion, which may be of great help when they pursue their higher studies, and if they are doing some research work in the form of MPhil or PhD, then this helps them in understanding the topics and the themes much better.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at some.
We have, I think we should go back to some of our slides earlier,
Yeah.
where we would like to talk about the reduction techniques that we want to tell our students. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going back to our previous slides, where we have talked about certain reduction techniques.
Okay, we have talked about the various styles of note making, but even within the styles, whatever style we use, there are some more ways of reducing your notes. As I told you earlier, that we make notes, and it is more informal and casual as compared to summarizing skills. It is more of some kind of rough notes. So if you're listening to a lecture, or if you're taking down, if you're sitting in the library reading something, you cannot jot down the whole book.
Yeah.
If you feel that the information that the book is providing, or the chapter that you're reading, you find lots of material and you have very less time. So what you should be doing is, you should be using these reduction techniques. Now, why they are called reduction techniques? Because actually they help you in taking down the notes in a more compact manner.
Yeah. Reduction techniques means reducing the matter, reducing the material in your own words and in your own innovative techniques.
Yeah.
And it not only helps them summarize this entire point or the entire paragraph, but it also helps them remember in their own, in a manner which they prefer to remember the notes. So while they are using reduction techniques, they should keep in mind that they have ample space and they have proper rough notebook or writing pad where they are using their own reduction techniques. And reduction techniques, the most important reduction technique is abbreviation.
Yes.
We use abbreviations. For example, we have listed it on our slide, that associated becomes assoc. That is the innovative way of writing associated.
That is, you create your own short forms.
Yeah, own short forms, your own acronyms as such.
But then, provided you remember what kind of short forms you made for different words, because many a times some words may have similar kind of short forms, which can confuse you later on when you go through your notes.
Yeah.
So as you can see, these are some of the reduction techniques, some of the abbreviations or short forms that you can create on your own for a few long, big words. And the next one is the standard abbreviations that we are having. I think Madam would like to say something
There are
about
certain
it.
universal standardized abbreviations that we very often use while summarizing or note making. EG stands for example, IE stands for that is, NB stands for note, and hash stands for number. Now there are certain abbreviations for within, for without. You can also use some signs or symbols which are mathematical, but again can be used here. And again, what I feel, Bharti, that it depends upon the idea and the reading of the students, and also the presence of mind, how innovative and how different they can be. But again, I would like to warn my students that they don't get carried away in being different. They should not evolve or innovate such symbols, so that by the time they refer it back when they are preparing for the examinations, they may forget the exact meaning of that same sign or symbol. So in that way, standardized symbol helps them remember. And standardized symbols are different from innovative symbols. So the student should be able to make difference between the standardized symbols as well as the innovative symbols and use them safely and securely.
Yes, exactly. At no point you should forget that whatever notes you are taking down, it is for future reference. So you should not be in a difficult situation or a position wherein you are not able to understand your own notes at the end of the whole exercise that you are doing. Now, some more reduction techniques that we are having, as you can see on the screen. These are some common symbols, mathematical symbols that you can use, or you can use arrows. For example, if you see, if you want to indicate that something is increasing, you can indicate it with an arrow that goes on the top. If you want to say that something is decreasing in quantity, you can indicate an arrow down to indicate decreasing. If you want to connect between one point to another, you can show an arrow with a single head, that is, this idea is pointing out to the next one. Or there are many more symbols, as you can see on the screen. There is this mathematical 3 dots that we use, which can indicate therefore. An upside down one is refers to since. Then the next one that you can use is the measurements and figures, the mathematical figures. Any day, yes, you can use them also as a kind of reduction technique. And all the measurements, for kilogram we can say
kg.
We can, for meters we use MTS, for centimeters we use cm, and etc.
Yeah.
Again,
So
it's a
yeah.
small abbreviation etc, which we are acquainted with. Yeah.
It's not that maths is far away from language and literature. Maths can definitely find its place in language and literature, but the students need to use these symbols in a very cautious manner. Another kind of symbols that can be used as it is on the screen is making your own abbreviations associated with the sound of the word. For example, education becomes EDN, program becomes PROGM. So what we are doing is we are reducing it according to the sound. But again I want my students to remember is they should remember the full words, the complete word, and not get confused with the abbreviation. So there is a very a small hair-like difference between the full words and the abbreviated and the short form words. Yes.
Yeah.
And suffixes can also be retained. For example, if educational, as it is written on the screen, so educational can be written as ed apostrophe comma and NAL, where NAL is the suffix.
Yeah.
So students can reduce the entire word by just using the suffixes at the end. The same can be done with the prefixes.
Yeah.
Because so they can put an apostrophe comma and write CAUSE. So B is again avoided and the main word is retained.
Yeah, one of the common ones I remember my students do is whenever they have to write because, they put B and an apostrophe and CZ.
Yeah.
So you can be as innovative as you want to.
Another thing that we have found in our students is they are using the text language to write their notes.
Yeah.
So again, I would like to point out to my students that text or SMS language is appropriate when you are texting it informally, but when you are making your own notes, the students should definitely keep away from using the text language, because it may create confusion in the long run. Because another thing you should keep in mind is you are making notes so that you can refer back to them whenever required, and that will help you reproducing the ideas that you have gathered either in your exams or in your interviews or at any situation or in any context later. In the due course of time. So avoiding text language or avoiding SMS language is important, and this is a message from both of us to our students.
If it becomes habitual, it can land you in problems, especially when you are into a career or a profession. Present day organizations, they don't any kind of written work that you do is considered to be very formal. So if you are using, if you are habituated to use such kind of short forms in day-to-day basis, it can confuse not only you but also anyone who is reading your
summary or the notes.
Summary or the notes that you have written. So please keep this in mind, that you shouldn't be habituated. It should not become an addiction to use the text language all the time.
Yeah, because when you in an official setup, in organizational setup, you make notes and then you draft your report. So it should not be the case that the notes that you have made, the abbreviations or the SMS language that you have used, it moves on to the final print of the report. Otherwise, it not only lands you in an awkward situation, but it also gives an impression about you, what kind of a communicator you are. And I want my students to remember that non-verbal messages are passed not only through body language but also by the stuff that you write. So non-verbal communication is also associated with your writing skills. The way you draft, the way you write, that reflects on the personality that you are, your commitment towards your work, and also how systematic and how organized you are. If you are organized in your note making, that systematic presentation and organization will definitely leave an impact when you are making your final notes. So the students should keep in mind that it's not only their notes that are important, but also their personality and the impression that they create after writing their notes, finalizing their notes. That's also important, because the way you present your notes in your examination, it also fetches you more marks. So not only for the marks, but also for a better impression in your profession, you should keep in mind that you are making your notes properly, systematically, and in an organized manner.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we have already discussed the styles, and I would like my students to summarize what we have discussed today. Madam, would you please brief what we have discussed today?
We discussed about summarizing skills, and we have looked at note making skills. Summarizing is a study skill. It's a formal kind of pattern of making notes. Now, summarizing skills we use in organizations, especially when the boss is giving you some instructions and a full detail is given, or someone has made an oral presentation and you are asked to summarize the whole detail and prepare a short report on it. Or if you are asked to attend seminars, conferences, etc., you are asked to make notes and then prepare proper notes of whatever has taken place over there. So when you are actually referring back to your notes and you are preparing a report on the seminar or the conference that you have attended, basically what you are doing is you are summarizing whatever you have witnessed there, whatever you have been listening to there, and which includes everything. There can be direct quotations also, for which you need to give due referencing, like who said those words and in what context and at what time, in what reference it has been given. All kinds of details have to be given, otherwise it amounts to plagiarism. Plagiarism is stealing somebody else's words, which really leaves a very bad impression on you if it is found out. So you need to take extra care. Summarizing skills, as has been pointed out, you have to jot down the main points, read through and get the main points, then read again in order to find the supporting points, so that you are in a position to form your topic sentence, and also you are able to write at least a paragraph in which you have the entire logical idea that the author is trying to present, and you have the important examples, or you have the important details that the writer is mentioning in the passage, which you cannot exclude. And if there are any words or sentences which you feel are having a certain impact and value in themselves, you may use those words or sentences as it is, but then you